Well, it's time to get those turkeys out of the ice house. Lincoln says it's a day of Thanksgiving. Hello and welcome to Civil War in Hindsight. I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me, as always, is my dear friend Prospector Johnny. And Johnny, it's a quiet week, so I'm just gonna sit back.
I assume it's quiet because the South is getting all their affairs in order to surrender, and
I hope
we're just
so.
waiting on that.
I hope so. Let's jump into it, Johnny. On the 31st of July, showing some minor skirmishes at Kelly's Fords as the more of Meade's army pushes across Potomac. It's not the first time we've heard about Kelly's Ford. We've heard about it like 2 or 3 times. Apparently, everybody likes to cross the Potomac right there because there's some more skirmishing.
Reason it's called Kelly's Ford, I would imagine. It's probably a good spot to cross that river.
Probably. Now, we're going to end the month of July as the war is somehow still going on. All of the Mississippi is in Union hands. The second invasion of the North by Lee has ended in disaster for Lee. And yet, somehow, the desertions are at an all-time high for the Confederates.
Yeah, that's tough, yeah.
And yet, somehow...
everybody sees the writing on the wall, but is it the traitor President Davis who has to be the one who comes in? Can their fake Congress do it, or like what?
Well, not Grant. Lee probably.
Could
Traitor
Lee
President Davis, maybe Congress. I mean, but none of them are all like... The people who are actually on the ground fighting, the privates, they're like, fuck this is stupid. And they're starting to ditch in droves, but everybody else is like, all the upper management is like, yeah, it's okay. We'll deal with it.
Yeah. I'm not dying.
Yeah. I'm going to worry about it. Going to be more skirmishing at Brandy Station, which, again, like Kelly's Ford, it seems like every other week at this point there are shots fired around Brandy Station. So if you live around Brandy Station, maybe find somewhere else. Like
the hell out of there.
Because every other day it seems like that. Oh, hey Johnny, remember that Belle Boyd, that female spy that we caught and then released? Yeah, remember her?
Yeah.
Caught her again. She still caught her in West Virginia this time, still spying. So she's been arrested. Again, so maybe we don't pardon her this time because
perhaps not. Yeah, maybe we should just lock her up forever because she's a treasonous spy, and that's enough.
I blame her husband.
You just
or lack of husband, I guess, because it's always the man's fault in the woman's thing, right? So like, whoever her dad or she's not married, so whoever her
it'd be her father, yeah.
Her father,
or if she has brothers, if her father's dead, or they need to be hung.
Yeah, we probably should go find them because they're...
Come on.
Right? Come on, South. Traitor President Davis is going to promise that all AWOL Confederate soldiers that they can be pardoned if they come back in the next 2 weeks. You will be pardoned.
And then put back to service, I
fighting.
Assume?
Yeah, you still have to fight.
So
You're not like getting out of fighting. You still have to fight. You're gonna be. You're not gonna get hung. You're not gonna get shot. You're not gonna There's gonna be no punishment. Just come back. You had an extended vacation. Good for you. Go back to fighting if you do come back.
I'm curious to see how many come back.
Now, before you all at home are gonna be all like, "Oh, there's Union deserter shoot." Yes, there are Union soldiers that went AWOL. We did have the draft riots because apparently it's not. Nobody wants to fight right now except for the people who have money.
Well, that's
anyways
always the case, I think.
On the 2nd, Johnny, Lee's going to write to President Davis, traitor President Davis, about the deserters, stating, and I quote, "It is painful to contemplate our weaknesses when you ask for reinforcements." So what he's saying here is I asked for reinforcements, and you're giving me sick and AWOL prisoners. I feel like even Lee at this point, I think, is seeing the writing on the walls of pretty weak.
It's not your best and brightest going to the front lines in the South at this point, or in the North at this point.
Or the North, yeah.
For that matter, because it's people getting drug kicking and screaming and all the rich folks buying their way out of it up north.
Yeah. The volunteers have very much dried up.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, that'll happen after how many? How 2.5 years? 3 years?
2.5. Yeah, we're like 2. Yeah. Two full. Well, has it even been technically 2 full years?
It seems like 18.
Yeah, it's been about 2.5 full years. Been about 2.5 full years. Full, because I think it was
Feels like
April
a
of '61.
lifetime.
It's like April of '61 that we did the Fort Sumter thing. I think. Yeah.
All right. Well, so
It's
there
been
you
forever
go.
and
It's
a day ago.
years.
Doesn't matter.
Jesus.
2.5 years. Still fucking doing it. On the 3rd, it's going to be a relatively quiet day, with just some Union forces transferring some troops from Vicksburg to Kentucky to prepare for the liberation of East Tennessee. And yes, I said liberation because East Tennessee, the predominant amount of East Tennessee, is very much pro-Union. So,
well, that's why we have Western Virginia or whatever the hell they decided to call
West
it.
Virginia, yeah.
West Virginia, yeah.
East Tennessee is very much the same boat that West Virginia was in before they seceded. So liberation's the right word. And in an attempt to avoid another riot, Governor Horatio Seymour, who's the governor of New York, has requested Lincoln, hey, can we keep the draft suspended for a little bit longer? Because
they're still not going to like it, even if you wait a little bit.
Did not go great the last time.
There's not going to be a time in the future where they accept this. At least for 50 years.
Yeah. So can we just
60 years, maybe.
Yet again, Johnny, shots are going to be fired at Brandy Station on the 4th. Again, if you live in Brandy Station, go ahead and move out of there. And Federals are going to begin to shell Fort Sumter and Battery Wagner in an attempt to weaken up the defenses around Charleston after the whole, sending in free men of color didn't work to take the fort. We're now just going to sit back and shell it like...
Maybe you do you do typically when it's not free men of color that you're sitting in, you would shell something before you sit your first wave. Is that
this isn't the first? Yeah, Johnny, this is not the first. We've done this like every month. It's like, hey, let's attack this place, and oops, that didn't work. We'll just shell it into submission. Hey, let's attack this place. Oops, that didn't work. We'll shell it into submission. Like you guys have telegraphs. You can communicate with each other. Like just shell it. We're not the South. We don't have limited artillery rounds. Like we keep making those.
Yeah, we have factories.
Making those. Just shell them.
Yeah, but they don't.
They don't. Anyways, Johnny, on the 5th, Confederates are going to unleash another secret weapon. Weapon times.
Their secret weapons have been messing us up. Like, this is their key to the war. They need to keep coming up with these secret weapons.
Except the secret weapon is not super effective. It's what's called an electric torpedo. So this is a mine that's in the water that they run a telegraph line to, and they instead of that mine having to make contact with a boat, they could just like doot and detonate it from the shore by running a telegraph line.
Okay, so all right. So it's TNT underwater essentially.
Yeah. And so they do that. It does damage the USS Commodore Barney, and 2 sailors will drown when they get yeeted off overboard. Like, actually, 20 of them get yeeted off overboard, but, like, 18 get back on, the other 2 drown. Seems like if you're going to be on a boat and be a sailor, be a stronger swimmer.
Feels like maybe the concussion could have knocked him out. They could have broken arms or legs on the way over.
Fine, Johnny,
kicked in the
but,
face by somebody else or in the neck, and then that's why.
Look,
or they could have been, like, drug under by the other people trying to. But, yeah, no, let's go ahead and make a joke about how our best soldiers in the land who are fighting for this goddamn country can't swim, and they died. That's hilarious. Lieutenant Tommy.
Johnny, my biggest fears of dying are drowning and burning to death, and I feel like being on a boat is asking for both of those things to happen at the same time. That's why my daddy paid for my commission, and I sit in an office in Indianapolis. Like, I don't have to do nothing, so I'm good. By the way,
laugh at the boys who can't swim, though. So that's
starting construction on that arsenal here in Indy, so hopefully it'll be done soon-ish.
Hopefully it'll be
6 months.
Hopefully we won't need it. Jesus.
What's job security for me in the future after the war's over, Johnny? Still got to get paid for this, right? $105 a month, Johnny. I can't. I'm going to make $105 a month anywhere else.
I'm prospecting.
Yeah, how's that going for you?
Shut up. All right, we don't need that right now. I'll get there. It's on average, Tommy.
Johnny, this quick week is going to finally end on the 6th with Lincoln proclaiming that the North will observe a day of Thanksgiving for the 6th for the recent victories. So the 6th, we get a day of rest. Church services are abound, so if you feel like you want to rest by going to church, that's an option for you. But businesses are shuttered, and we're thankful for all these.
For what?
For Gettysburg and Vicksburg.
For the riots?
Don't talk about those.
No, we're not. Oh,
Not
the
talking
war
about
still
those.
going on?
Not talking about that.
Not that either. We're
Just
thankful
Gettysburg and
because
Vicksburg.
we won 2 battles.
Gettysburg and Vicksburg. Yes. Significant battles, Johnny. Significant battles.
So significant that we're still doing the damn thing.
That is true, and I guess we'll see if we're still doing it next week. That's it for this week in Civil War in Hindsight. If you enjoy Civil War in Hindsight, check out Historic Hindsight. We talk about all kinds of fun things, like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse. All right, I mean, if you're as old as me and Johnny, you kind of vaguely remember that show a little bit. Or we can talk about how awful presidents are.